Dr. Neva, your global leadership strategist here at Neva Lines, where I do some fabulous events revolving around, international, global, those experiences. Yeah. So you should definitely check it out. You could find out more on my website at NEV Alliance. Now, today, I'm going to share with you, what people's been asking me to do. They're like, hey, Dr. Neva or Neva, we want to people want to see a little bit more about you. And I give you a specific example of this. Someone mentioned there was an event, and of course, when she watched this video, she's going to know definitely that I'm speaking of her. And what she mentioned to me is like, at the event, I decided to dance. I did a little two steps, and she was like, you should do this more often because people don't see this side to you. And I'm like, what side? It's now the way I understand her advice, definitely and well taken. But for me, as far as it relates to certain things when it comes to business, you really have to be cautious because there's a fine line. There's a thin line where someone might, judge you, or you may not get an opportunity. You go to a Christmas party, a holiday party, you got drunk, and people go, okay, I see that side. And I'm going to tell you a story of what happened a few years ago in reference to me getting a training opportunity. Now, I want to say clearly the training opportunity did not affect me, but it affects someone else that I wanted to refer because I know they are an expert in their field. So pretty much we met up. The gentleman met me, the person who has the opportunity, and this was actually overseas. And his wife was there. And we had, it was like, I would say tea and snacks and stuff like that, because we met up at a certain time of the day where it wasn't like a big meal and we weren't really hungry. But besides the point, the when I mentioned it to the person with the opportunity that, hey, this person, I think you should call on him to do this training because that's his area. He went, well, I don't know. And I said, what do you mean you don't know? Because again, I know he actually knows this person. He says, well, I have watched him marry and divorce and marry and divorce. And I'm thinking to myself, what does that have to do with his expertise? Well, he's basically been watching this individual as his capability or lack of it, saying that he's indecisive. He can't make up his mind. So he viewed the fact that he's been in and out of marriage. Now, understand, I don't want you to say, what's the big deal? It's more precise than that. It's more this person came when he met the person, the person with the expertise, when the person with the opportunity met him, he met him where he said he recently got divorced and he introduced a new wife. In another year, he was introducing another wife. And so it was just a little bit like this person took it as, okay, if you're doing this in your personal life, you can be just as indecisive when it comes to business or training, right? So at that moment, that person lost the opportunity. And I've never, ever, this happened years ago, and I never mentioned it to the person because, it's a bit heartbreaking. And you, no one wants to hear their personal life affects business. Now, we are all human. And just as I mentioned earlier, the individual mentioned, me dancing. I love to dance. But for me, there's a time and place for everything, right? And if you want to know more about me, you can definitely ask. That's one thing I've always said to individuals, just ask. Now, it may shock you. I'm some of the stuff that you may ask and I'm going to respond to. But yeah, so why am I really mentioning this today? Number one, yes, you know, be human because we're human, and that is a part of life, right? You can't always just be, it's all business, right? And then there people, whether you like it or not, that will support you because of your personal life, because they know more about you. They know, okay, things are not working great for you, so let me support you. Or, you're doing a phenomenal job with your children, or, whatever might be. Okay, you're keeping up with your health. So they want to see more of you. They want to see you thrive. You look at some of these celebrities, you could see where some will definitely share information about themselves, their personal life. When they're going through divorce, what's happening next. You see the food that they're cooking or not cooking, right? So sometimes, again, it depends on what kind of business that you're in. People want to see that human side, but again, you also that fine line where someone else you may get an opportunity, or you may lose an opportunity for it. So here's what I want to say to you. There is this 70-20-10 rule when it comes to being in business, or you're not necessarily a business owner but you're in a professional environment. 70% is where you share the professional side. They see that side. 20%, I believe, it's you, your personality, who you are. And then the 10%, you could share some stories. That's the way I would put it. So the 70-20-10 rule. And I think with that balance, it will work for you, right? So I'm not saying that the holidays are coming up, and sure, you're, I know some of you may have a difficult time trying to, turn up, as they may say, and be you because you're in a professional environment. You don't want them to see that side. But again, just know what you're comfortable sharing, what you're comfortable, or who you're comfortable being around, or if you're going to share that information with, right? So that's it for today. I hope that my insight could be of value to you, and definitely check out my company, Neva Alliance, and what we do. We do have some great events year round, and more than events, we do leadership development. All right. Until next time, I am Dr. Neva, your global leadership strategist.